Quick update on Middle-earth mod. So version 1.2 is now out. You can follow the link in the description to check it out. So what's new? Mostly a bunch of minor stuff. So unit descriptions updated with mechanics. Same with army list descriptions, mechanics, and background lore. Date ranges added to the campaign. So there's less anachronistic matchups. Various changes to unit quantities in army lists, certain units' behaviors updated, like trolls pursuing properly now. One new mechanic: Noldor units provide a +1 to CTs taken by adjacent friendlies. The core of the update is new army lists. I'll just go through them in order quick. I might do a deep dive video on the army lists later. So we'll just go in order. So Adunabar, this is kind of fictional, kind of not, thanks to 4th Age Total War team. They built the concept off of an unfinished story Tolkien wrote called The New Shadow, in which Gondor seems to be heading towards dark cult, civil war, all kinds of good stuff. So it's a mix of Dunedainic and Orcish units. I have north and south varieties with slight differences. The north being Eriador and the south being Mordor. Angmar, so that's the Witch King of Angmar. So Nazgul Guard unit, which came out in 1.1, inflicts fear on nearby foes, otherwise a mix of orcs and hillmen. Arnor, the North Kingdom, gets 2 lists. The first list is the earlier incarnation that was eventually destroyed. Mainly Dunedainic type units, but pretty sparsely settled by the Dunedain, so instead of undrilled heavy foot and massed archers for its militia, it gets medium foot and light archers. You can also get 1 unit of hobbit archers that does show up in the appendix of the Return of the King. 4th Age Arnor is very similar to Gondor, the same era. It just doesn't get Marines and Lothar Axemen. Next, Gondor 4th Age is identical to Gondor 3rd Age, except it can get 1 unit of Elves of Ithilien, as Legolas settled Ithilien with elves from Greenwood in the 4th Age. Haradrim Inland Tribes, so it's basically a truncated version of the Haradrim list. This is for times when various powers controlled the coast, but not the rest of Harad. So it's basically lacking the Corsairs and Guard units. It gets more men of Far Harad in exchange. Hillmen are various quote-unquote barbarian peoples who lived in Eriador or Enedwaith. They had very good reason not to like the Dunedain, often fought them. It's basically the Dunlending list with its explicit Rohirric influences stripped out, and these Axemen warriors, which are actually a pretty cost-effective unit. Northmen, so these are the Northmen who lived in Rhovanion and Anduin Vale and eventually settled Khal Narthan and became the Rohirrim. So their cavalry is pretty much like Rohan's cavalry, but more lightly armored. And their infantry is like the infantry of the Woodmen, so medium foot, spear, heavy weapon. This is given the idea that their men who fought on foot were probably the men who lived in the Eves of Greenwood or in Anduin Vale, and those who fought on horseback more likely to dwell in the plains. Rohan 4th Age is just like the other Rohan list, except it gets a unit of Dwarves of Aglarond, as Gimli settled the Glittering Caves early in the 4th Age. Umbar, so this is Umbar after the Kinstrife, which was a big civil war in Gondor. Period after, people kept fleeing to Umbar from Gondor, so it's got a core of Dunedainic style units and a higher proportion of Marines, as their side of the Civil War is based in Pelargir, the coastal city. But they do have to rely on various local Haradrian troops for numbers. They can get 1 Mumakil too for flavor. Finally, the Wainriders. So these were a confederation of eastern peoples who invaded the north in Gondor earlier in the Third Age. It's basically the Easterling list, but with the Axemen and noble cavalry stripped out and a higher proportion of chariots. The chariots have also been changed in this version to 50% bow, light speared. So to have them charge more instead of relying so much on archery, which didn't feel quite right. So that's a sampling. Thanks again to 4th Age Total War team for letting me plunder their assets. And thanks again to Cronenblatt for making banners for the new factions that needed them. So I think he made or imported banners for Adunabar, Angmar, Arnor, and let's see. Yeah, Umbar. Otherwise, I think we used existing banners, which works just fine. The mod still uses placeholder graphics for the units. Still works pretty well for the managed factions. Bit odd for the orcs, but it's what it is for now. So I will throw up some matches again if anyone wants to pick them up. See you on the field.